Hello, everybody. How you all doing? Right, so tonight's live stream, I'm going to give a shout out to this guy because he actually reminded me about all of this. So we'll get him up. When it gets up, right? So Xbox control, is it Xbox damage controller 2711? Actually, remind me today in the comments of one of my videos. See, I do read everybody's comment on the videos. I don't have time to reply to all of them, but I do read everybody's comments. But he reminded me that today is the last day of May, and Zahir Yousaf and Nigel Farage promised a comprehensive strategy to deport all illegal immigrants within 5 years. No policy today at all. Say hello to Jack. Hi, Jack. Everybody say hello to Jack. Right, so let's have a look and see what Zahir Yousaf actually said when he promised this. Because we've got all the receipts. We know exactly what they said, don't we, with regards to this. So, see if it comes up. Is it going to come up? Yeah, here we go. Right, so this was Zahir Yousaf. He said, as Prime Minister, Nigel Farage will ensure the deportation of all illegal immigrants in this country within 5 years. After decades of Tory and Labour rule, this country has failed to enforce its immigration laws and uphold the integrity of its borders. As a result of this open border policy, 1.2 million illegal immigrants now inhabit the UK. I'll say there's probably more than that. Right. He goes on to say this. Reform UK's policy team has drafted a comprehensive strategy to deport all illegal immigrants currently in the UK within 5 years. The plan is bold but actionable, firm but fair. As Prime Minister, Nigel will ensure our country operates a zero-tolerance policy for illegal residents. The full policy document and detailed plan will be published next month. Now, this is interesting because this was May. We're now in the 31st of May. Tomorrow is the 1st of June, and still no policy. Now, don't you think, right, an ideal time to announce this policy, when I actually get to it, actually, I'm going to have to upload this one. Evening Troop, same with the reform or both the grooming gangs and Manchester Airport. Yeah. Yeah, Jack, they're lying to us. What a surprise, eh? The Reform Party lied to us about policy just to get a few more votes during the May elections. Who'd have thought that? Hey. So you would have thought, right, there would have been an opportune time to do this, wouldn't it? When was that? 27th of May. Reform held a conference announcing all their new policies. Don't you think this would have been a prime time to announce this comprehensive strategy to deport all illegal immigrants? After all, Zahir Yousaf has said that the policy is already written and it was just there to be announced, but no announcement this month. Nothing at all. And people believe that Nigel Farage is going to deliver everything that he says he's going to deliver. He's just a con artist. The guy is an absolute con artist. 100%. He played people again, didn't he? Because he probably got a load of people to actually vote for him in the local elections because they thought he was actually going to do something about, you know, the illegal immigrants already in this country. He's not going to do anything. He's not going to do anything. I keep telling people it's actions, not words, and he can't even deliver on the policy. So he's not going to deliver on actually deporting anybody, is he? I keep saying it and saying it and saying it. Nigel Farage is not going to reform this country. He's not our savior. He's not going to do anything. but people just keep buying into his bullshit, and it's annoying. This is basically what Nigel Farage is doing to us right now. This is what he's doing to the country. He's conning all these people. He's laughing his fucking head off. He is. Nigel Farage. He's absolutely laughing his head off because look at all these people I've suckered into believing that I'm going to be saviour of the country when I'm going to do absolutely nothing at all. Remember that face the next time you're actually considering voting for this guy. He's laughing at you. He's laughing at everybody that's voted for him. He really is. It's an absolute joke of a man. Do you really think he's going to deliver what he said about the getting rid of the 2-child benefit cap? He's not going to deliver that just for the British people. We all know why he mentioned that. It's got nothing to do with British people. He's after courting the Muslim vote. That's what he's after. He knows the key to getting to be Prime Minister is to appease the Muslims in this country, just like every other government has done for the past few decades. They're going to be no different. This isn't the party that is going to go into Westminster and dismantle the civil service, which needs to be dismantled. That is their first thing. I mean, look at what policy he's been trying to deliver. What policy do you think is most important at the minute? Would you say it was a strategy to get rid of all the illegal immigrants in this country, or some bullshit crypto bollocks policy that people are just tearing apart and saying it's absolutely insane to do this? They just flip-flop about like, I don't know. They just flip-flop about like, but there's just no structure. There's no cohesive structure with them. They just have a press conference. They announce some policy, and there's no substance to it. Even the thing that he was saying, I mean, he never mentioned, right? He's saying that we're going to increase the threshold for people. So anybody that isn't earning £20,000, they don't pay any tax. So that's a lot of people not paying tax, and the government needs tax to function. So how's the infrastructure going to be paid for when you reduce the tax? You've either got to make tax cuts, you've got to make cuts to spending somewhere, or you've got to increase taxes to pay for this. And so that means taxing the people already over the £20,000 threshold even more money to pay for raising the threshold. I mean, he went on and on about, oh yeah, I'm going to get rid of all the illegal immigrants in the country, and that'll pay for all of this. And yet he's not released the policy. He's not released the policy telling us how he's going to deport all these illegal immigrants within 5 years. He has no clue, and that's the honest of it. He has absolutely no clue what he's doing. The Reform Party are just a joke. when you look at past all the vazazzle, all the showbiz, all the fireworks, all the smoke and mirrors, and you actually look behind the Reform Party, there's nothing there. There's no substance. There's no policy. There's no structure. And this is what a lot of the branches were saying before the elections. We haven't got any policy. We can't go to the electorate without any policy. They had nothing. It's a joke. And you know what? When the Labour Party is criticising Nigel Farage, it's not like you can counter them with any arguments, because what they're saying is true. Same with the Conservatives. The Reform Party is so weak on policy. Everything that the Tories and the Conservatives and the Labour Party and the Lib Dems criticise the Reform Party are, you can't refute it because they're telling the truth. I just don't know what to tell people. I'm seeing people on Twitter saying reform are the only option. We're doomed. We are doomed. Right, let's have a look at some of the comments in here. So what do you guys think about all of this? Seriously, what do you think about all of this that's going on? So look at what Steve's got to say. That's not Steve. Sorry, Jack. Maybe Zai can get his pen out of his arse yet. And I agree with this. This is 100%. Farage is a political Arthur Daly. He is. He's got the gift of the gab. He's got a silver tongue, and he knows how to manipulate people. Uh, people are going to be sadly disappointed in the Reform Party. So look at this one. Why pay any national taxes if there's no borders? There's no country to have any nationalism. Exactly. Totally agree. I want to know who exactly is running the country at the minute, because it's going to shit. I've got a few videos I'm going to do tomorrow on the police force. Wow. We're literally not being policed at the minute. We're not being policed. There's no crime being solved. There's no deterrent to crime at the minute. They're all focusing on their political beliefs in thought crime. I showed it in the live stream last night about the shop owner that received a visit from the police, and they recorded it as a non-crime hate incident just because they had Enoch Powell, a photograph of Enoch Powell in the window with his speech. Apparently that's a non-crime hate incident now. It's a thought crime. The police think that's a valuable I just don't know, guys. I just don't know anymore. I really don't. Like, what the hell do we do? I've noticed the mainstream media is changing its tune on Nigel. Now he's centre left. Exactly. All those idiots that think that they're a right wing party are just, yeah, you're deluded. Absolutely deluded. Why would a politician on an island nation of around 80 million natives need the Muslim vote for? Because the thing is, right, what's going to shock these people when they go to this general election is none of these people are going to get the Muslim vote. Nigel Farage isn't, Labour Party isn't, the Conservative Party isn't. All this appeasing they've done for the past, what, half century, shall we say, that they've been doing, is going to be wasted. Because what are they going to do? They're going to vote for these new up-and-coming independent Islamist parties that are going to be in full force by the 2029 general election. None of them are going to have the Muslim vote. And by that time, it'll be too late. Some of the comments. Have you seen Charlie video in Manchester today with them silly Palestine Muppets? Oh God, don't get me started on those people. I should do a poll really, because at the end of June, I'm hoping to go to Nottingham to go to the Nick Tenconi protest that he's doing about immigration. You know, the road show that he's doing. I'm going to be doing taking the channel there and covering that. I also really want to go to Manchester and cover one of the pro-Palestine marches. I want to do that as well. That's been on the cards for a long time. So yeah, there's some interesting things coming up on the channel. But yeah, the pro-Palestine idiots. God, there's a guy on Twitter. I'll try and get his name up. But he's been. I don't know if he's a lefty. I think he's in between. I think he's like a centrist sort of thing. But he's been posting pictures all day of Gaza about how it's been bombed and how there's not many buildings left there anymore. So I don't think it's going to load up. I'll just tell you what I said. So he was posting pictures of Gaza and it looks bombed out. So I just posted a picture. I'll show you actually. I posted this picture. When I can find it, that is. I posted this picture on X because a lot of people don't understand this. Because See if I can find it for you. I have to put a light on it. It's getting pretty dark. Here we go. So that's Berlin after World War II. We obliterated Berlin. And this guy on Twitter was saying how horrific it was that people have been bombed like this. It's like we did it to the Nazis during World War II. We absolutely obliterated Berlin. That's why war is horrific. Of course, war is. It was saying, "Oh, isn't war horrific?" Yeah, it is horrific. But you know what? Most countries try to avoid war. And if you decide to invade a country, kill 1,200 civilians, take hostages, some of them young children and babies, and then you kill those hostages, then expect retaliation. Because that's what war is. It's retaliation for something that you've done, especially when you invade a country. What do you expect is going to happen? That they're going to like have a party for you and it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows? No, they're going to bomb you back to the Stone Age so you don't do it again. And personally, I know this is going to be controversial and stuff like that. I hope the IDF absolutely annihilate Hamas. I hope they wipe them off the face of the earth and their supporters too. I do. They deserve it. They deserve it. That's how I feel on that. Fuck Hamas. That's how I feel about that. And if you want to know why I feel like that, Hamas were the people I was facing out in Iraq because ISIS and Hamas are exactly the same group of people. And if you want to know why, the Iranians train both groups and fund them. ISIS and Hamas are funded by Iran. So fuck Hamas. I've got no sympathy for them whatsoever. They go and invade a country, they start a war, they get absolutely annihilated, they get bombed back to the Stone Age, and then they cry victim because, oh no, we've got to face consequences for what we've done. It's like, well, yeah, that's what war is. Exactly. I was watching some of them today as well. I was watching some of the lefties, the black bloc, Antifa, and watching them say like they're about 3 stone piss wet through. One good punch and you'd snap them in half. You literally would. I don't know if many of you people actually saw the protest before I got my phone nicked. I was actually, looking at them. And it's like, if that's what they're offering up to start the communist revolution, we've got no issues. We've got no problems. If these people come knocking at your door, all you got to do is call them the wrong pronoun and they'll go running back to their little ball pool or their little safe space. They're pathetic. They're absolutely pathetic. Did anybody see that little hovel that those two urban explorers, urbexers, uncovered? They went to I think it was an abandoned youth centre, and Antifa had took it over. It was like a little dark little fucking commie nest. And they came out with chains trying to intimidate. It was like, I wouldn't have been intimidated by that. I wouldn't have been intimidated in one little bit. Fucking scumbags. Just been watching Charlie Veach getting them a shit. Well, okay. It was an abandoned boxing club in Manchester. They're just scumbags, aren't they? Sniggles, rolling went from circle. Badge wearers. In all so-called governments, they say hi. Okay. Check out and read carefully a petition on the UK government and Parliament petition, page beginning with the words, shut the migrant hotels down now. It currently has, 51,000 signatures. Right, I know this is probably going to be controversial, but look at the petition for the general election. What did they do? They ignored it. At the time, it had over 2.5 million signatures on it, and they just dismissed it out of hand. The whole petition thing for government, where I think you get over 100,000 signatures and then they consider it for debate. And that's the key thing with these things. They consider it for debate. So having a petition doesn't guarantee that it's going to get heard in Parliament. These petitions, these government petitions, are just pressure release valves for the population to make them think they've got some type of control over government, when in reality you haven't. They didn't even have a debate really on the next general election. They just issued a statement saying the government has been democratically elected and all this blah 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 blah. And at this time we're not going to call a general election. Move on to next petition. Petitions don't do anything. I'm sorry, but they don't. It's just another mechanism they give you to make you think you've got some sort of control. It's like voting in a way. Yeah, do you really think, right? Give a thumbs up in the comments, right? If you think that. Do you really think that the government is going to ban halal meat? Because what do you think the Muslims will do if they ban halal meat? Will they peacefully accept it, or will they riot in the streets demanding that it be restored? What do you think will happen? Then they're not going to ban halal meat. Of course they're not. I'm sorry, I'm sounding a bit, down on things, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say to people that, yeah, if you sign that petition, there's hope. There isn't. And not to call, not to put a downer on any marchers or anything like that. But marchers don't really do anything. They don't. The only ones that have real effect, and I pushed this as well, was the Great British Strike, which is now the Great British Protest, because there were protests up and down the country. Those type of protests have an effect, because it's nothing to do with whether the mainstream media covers it. It's nothing to do with protesting outside the Houses of Parliament. This is about waking the people up. If you have a protest in every town and city up and down the country, the people can't ignore that. And when it's out on the street, the media can't censor it. They're going to say, well, what's this? What's this protest? Yeah, I've not seen this protest before. They've got union flags and that sort of thing. I'm going to go over and see what they're talking about. People realise the country's in trouble then. I support Tommy Robinson, but to me, just having one event down in London way in September isn't going to be effective. He's calling it a free speech event. And he's going to have all speakers going down to London to speak about it. Me personally, I don't want to set foot in that shithole, London. Not a chance in hell do I want to go to London. No offence to Tom Robinson and his team, but I don't. So look at some of the comments again. Did anyone else see the construction site where they were building houses for migrants? The construction vehicles were smashed up. I think that was in Ireland, wasn't it? Sure, that was in Ireland. Right, I'm going to mention this again, right? Paul has ran off to Spain, right? I would have had a lot more respect for Paul Thorpe, if he'd have said, you know what, if it gets any worse in this country, I'm taking my family to Spain and I'm not looking back. Way back when, I would have had more respect for him because I would have understood that, to be honest with you. But to say way back when, he says, I'm not leaving the country, I'm going to stand with the Patriots, I'm going to fight alongside them. That's fair enough, great. But now that he's U-turned on that and now he's in Spain, it doesn't look good for him, does it? Really. I can understand why he's done it. Don't get me wrong. He wants to get his family out of this country, and I can't blame him for that. But I would have had a lot more respect for the guy if he'd have just been upfront and thought, yeah, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I think that's what he did, to be honest with you. I think he bit off more than he can chew. I don't think he actually realised that with his massive platform, the videos he was making and the things that he was saying, that the state would come after him. Because they will come after you if you've got a big platform. There's no doubts about that. I know a lot of people have got strong opinions on Paul Thorpe, and I understand that as well. You feel let down by him. You know, obviously this here, you know, Paul's a grifting, you know, word that I can't say, or the live stream will get banned. But yeah, I understand people's anger. I really do. They deceived you into picking between two choices: Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine. Yeah, they want to be involved in forever wars and all that kind of stuff. We all know that. It's all about the military industrial complex. This is I made some videos. This is the main issue I had with Paul Thorpe. He was flip flopping about the Reform Party, and as you see at the beginning of this live stream, Nigel Farage promised to deliver policy. I'll show it again, right? So this is what Nigel Farage promised to deliver, right? For all those that have just joined the live stream. So Zahir Yousaf came out and he said this: as Prime Minister, Nigel Farage will ensure the deportation of all illegal immigrants in this country within 5 years. After decades of Tory and Labour rule, this country has failed to enforce its immigration laws and uphold the integrity of its borders. Just going to take this guy off the screen so I can read the rest of it. As a result of this open border policy, 1.2 million illegal immigrants now inhabit the UK. I think that's a fair, liberal estimation, as Steve has said. I think there's probably 1.2 million in London, as Steve has said. There's a hell of a lot more in this country because there are simply thousands that we don't know about, and that's the truth. We just don't know. Has anybody been watching the videos? Like I've got so many videos to do tomorrow. I really have. I'm going to try and have to do a compilation of lots of different ones. There's one of a recently arrived person in a park exposed himself to children. A woman was stabbed to death by an immigrant. It's getting worse. It's getting more and more violent. Yeah, I agree, Denise. A good way of checking to see how many people in the country is, believe it or not, is through supermarket sales. And apparently they were estimating that there's a good 5 million people in the country that aren't supposed to be here. And then they work that out from supermarket sales because obviously if you're in the country, you've got to buy food, you've got to, you know, survive and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's scary. Yeah, exactly. Car ramming in Leicester today. Yeah, they're being very quiet about the person who was behind that. And obviously they're withholding their identity because what is Leicester? I think I was looking at this today. I don't know what video I was watching, but apparently Leicester is less than 40% white now. It's less than 40% white. So it's a pretty good guess that the person who was involved in that wasn't a native white British person. Right. Both Jewish. Yeah. I'm not getting into all of that. Right. Keeps going up too quick. I'm catching up. Right. 30%, I think. Yeah. So Leicester's 30% white now. For imagine that. An English city, 30%. I know right now English people in Bradford are a minority. They're definitely a minority in Bradford. They're a minority in Birmingham, or will be soon. I saw that, Steve. I saw that as well. Did you hear this as well? This will go along with what you're saying, actually, Steve, when it comes up. There's also the water companies for sewage disposal. They said there's around 15 million plus, but shit have got to go somewhere. Yeah, apparently there was a new report as well today saying that I think in the next 10 years there's going to be water shortages because we just don't have enough reservoirs to cope with the growing population. So we're basically going to be a third world country. We're gonna run out of water. We're literally going to run out of water. A country that is an island that rains mostly, 90% of the time is going to run out of water because we've not invested in our infrastructure. We've not built reservoirs. I don't think there's been a reservoir built in this country, tell me if I'm wrong, from 1990. No new reservoirs have been built from 1990. And people just want to keep flooding people into the country, keep bringing them in. But I mean, another 1,000 came in today, escorted in by the border force. I don't know about Alex Belfield. I don't know about him. I did watch some of his videos before he got sent to prison and that sort of thing. I would have to do more research on that guy before I pass judgment on him. I don't know that much about him, to be honest with you. And are you going to run out of electricity and gas? Yes. Don't forget Reform UK kick Rupert Lowe, Howard Cox, and Ben Habib. So them rejecting Andrew Bridgen is unsurprising. Yeah, Andrew Bridgen went with all the vaccine harms. Nigel Farage turned him away and says you really shouldn't be talking about that. This from the guy, Nigel Farage, who wanted to put Tony Blair in charge of the vaccine rollout. And if that doesn't say everything you need to know about Nigel Farage, nothing will. You can't trust the guy. Tommy should be organising local rallies across the UK. Yeah, he should. He should. Little satellite rallies for everybody that can't make it down to the rallies in London. No, because they removed reservoirs plus overpopulation, which they should be all flooding in mass migration uncapped. Yep. It says everything you need to know about the vaccine too. Yeah, it does. Trying to get through everybody's comments as much as I can. 30% of the average number in Leicester. If you use the ethnic census date, it's lower than 3% in West and Central Leicestershire. We're slowly being colonised, aren't we? We're slowly being colonised and taken over. And now the elites will let it happen because it'll never affect them, because they'll be the ones that can afford to leave the country once they've turned it into a shithole. They'll be able to leave and live in America and other countries and, leave us with the mess, the aftermath of it all. And if anybody thinks that Farage and co are going to sort out the mess once the country is destroyed, think again. They're not. Slowly. No, it's rampant. Yeah. Farage was paid by the league to step aside for Johnson's Tories. He would have cocked up reform to allow the Tories back in. Exactly. Right, so we've read the first part of this, and I'm getting a bit sidetracked here. Right, we'll just read the rest of this, because for all those that don't know, Nigel Farage promised, it's in the title of the thing as well, he promised a comprehensive strategy about deporting all illegal immigrants within 5 years, before the end of the month. Today's the 31st, still no policy on that. This is what was said by Zai Yusuf. Reform Party's policy team has drafted a comprehensive strategy. So they've drafted it. It is there. They could have read something out. To deport all illegal immigrants currently in the UK within 5 years. The plan is bold but actionable, firm but fair. As Prime Minister, Nigel will ensure our country operates a zero tolerance policy for illegal residents. The full policy document and detailed plan will be published next month, that being this month, May. Today's the 31st, no mention of any policy or anything like that. And as I pointed out, 27th of May, what happened? What happens on the 27th of May? Nigel Farage held a press conference. Don't you think that would have been the opportune time to announce the new strategy for deporting all the illegal immigrants in this country? Instead, he announced that he's going to remove the two-child benefit cap, which is obviously going to benefit our new arrivals more than it will British people. No mention of any policy about removing all the illegal immigrants from this country, which I think most people suspected anyway. And obviously now he's going on and on about some bullshit crypto strategy. So instead of paying money tax in pound sterling, it's now going to be paid in Bitcoin. And people pointing out to him, I mean, I don't know anything about Bitcoin. This is just what I've read. But apparently Bitcoin can lose its value instantly in a day and be worth absolutely nothing. And people have been saying, how is this even achievable? That you're going to allow people to pay taxes in Bitcoin when all of a sudden it could just be devalued, and then you've got no revenue to pay for all the infrastructure that needs paying for within the country. How is that actually going to work? That they're just insane. And how anybody can put their faith in the Reform Party is beyond me. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. And like I said, this is what he's doing to everybody right now. That's what Nigel Farage is doing to everybody in this country. He's laughing his socks off. He's laughing his socks off all the way to the bank. Because once he's done in government, once he's had his little stint as an MP, he'll go on the speaking circuit and he'll earn millions talking about his time in Parliament and all that kind of shit. You know, but what they all do. That's what will happen. He's never going to be Prime Minister of this country. Never going to be Prime Minister. He'll never get that far. 4 years in politics is a long time. And we're going to see the Reform Party probably implode itself within the next few years. That's what's going to happen. And then hopefully we're going to have a new party from Ben Habib. Hopefully. But don't bet on it. Don't count on that either. Let's have a look at this comment. Digital ID, carbon footprint, prison concentration camp system. That's what they want. Cashless society and enslavement of super surveillance state. That's where we're heading. We're heading towards the Chinese social credit system, aren't we? So who's going to be president in 2029? I'm putting my money on JD Vance. I think that's what Trump's doing. I think he's, grooming him for that position to be the next president after he goes. I think that's that's going to happen. But like people are saying, I don't really care about America at the minute. They're looking after themselves. We've got to think about this country. People without hope are a very dangerous people indeed, and we've got no hope at the minute. There's no light at the end of the tunnel through any of this. For all of us that are actually awake, we can see that this man on screen right now is not the saviour. He's not the solution to any of our problems. He's not. In fact, he's even worse. He's worse, in my opinion. I think he'd be worse than Boris Johnson. He used GB News to keep voters on about Bitcoin. Americans can donate to reform. Laugh out loud. He's clueless, isn't he? He's an absolute fucking charlatan, this man. Nigel Farage. Right, so guys, I think I've said all that I'm going to say. I think I've covered everything that I'm going to cover. I'm going to cut this short at 41 minutes because I want a lot of people to see it. So if I go to the hour mark, nobody's going to want to watch it. So I want to thank you all for coming along. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. I was going to do this as a video, but I wanted to get you guys' input on this as well, get a bit of a chat going as well, get your guys' impressions on this. But just to recap before I go, Nigel Farage hasn't delivered on the policy he said he was going to deliver on. No big surprises there. And I'm looking forward to probably the Farages coming tomorrow to the live stream to this and saying, oh, reform's the only party we can trust in. If you don't vote reform, you're going to get Labour government and all this bollocks. At the minute, the Reform Party isn't going to be much different to the Labour Party, unfortunately. Before we go, right, I love this argument. I love this argument that the Farages use. They say, there's only one party that's going to break the uniparty, and that's the Reform Party. The Tories aren't going to save us. The Labour Party isn't going to save us. And then you think, what exactly is the Reform Party made up of? It's basically made up of Tory defectors, Liberal Democrat defectors, and Labour Party defectors. So just how are they going to be any different from the uniparty? They're made up of the uniparty. Well, let's hope there's a bit of hope. We've got 4 years. Anything can happen in 4 years. Let's just hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel soon, and we get some hope. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for coming along, watching the live stream. Really appreciate it. I'm going to call it a night here. And I shall see you in the next video. This is Vindicator. Sign off. Thanks for coming, everybody.